Good morning. Happy Easter. It's a joy to continue to celebrate this Easter season, and we are continuing on through this Easter season, and we just keep getting one series of incredible gospels after another. Today we have the end of John's gospel, John 21. There's a number of different words in the Greek language, there's a number of different words for the word love. Many of you have probably heard this before, but there's specifically 4 different types of love. There's the love of affection, there's a love of desire, there's a love of friendship, and then there's a self-sacrificial type of love, a love usually that's only directed towards, for the Greeks it was towards the gods, for us it's toward the God, the one true God. And so these 4 different types of love are used to distinguish between different types of loves that we have within our life, right? And so we recognize that there's different types of love even as we go on throughout our day. You know, when a husband and wife say they love each other, that's much different than when we say we love pizza or we love to do a certain hobby. We love to read or something like that. And when 2 friends say that they love one another, that's also different than when a husband and wife say they love each other, or when we say that we love God. There's these different types of friendships there's these different types of loves that we experience that also kind of, they also distinguish our relationship with different other objects or with different other people or with God. These different types of love distinguish the type of relationship that we have. Today in John's gospel, there's 2 words used in the Greek for love, which kind of like helps make sense out of this gospel as well, because it's after the 3rd time that Jesus says, "Simon, do you love me?" that Simon shows distress. Simon, the first 2 times Simon was fine, but then after the 3rd time, Simon is distressed and he's worried and he's kind of flustered, I would imagine. He's not really sure how to respond. So the 2 words that are used in this in the gospel today for the word love is agape and phileo. Agapao, that would be the verb form, and phileo. Agapao is the verb form for this self-sacrificial type of love that is willing to lay down one's life for another and ultimately for God. We know this type of love from the Last Supper discourse when Jesus is talking to all the apostles and he says, "Greater love has no one than to lay down their life for one's friend." This type of love that's willing to sacrifice everything, that's willing to lay down one's life, that's willing to shed one blood, that's willing to give up everything. Usually this type of love is a type of love of giving of one's whole self, making a complete gift of oneself with leaving and holding nothing back. This type of love really only makes sense when God is in the picture. Right? If you're willing to sacrifice your whole life, then you recognize that there's a God, but that death is not the end as well. Otherwise, it really wouldn't make that much sense. This type of love that is beautiful, that we all strive for, that when we see it lived out in such a heroic way, we're inspired, and there's something that's moved within our hearts. Agape. Phileo is the love of friendship, and friendship is more than just companionship. And friendship is distinguished then from the friends that are like lovers. C.S. Lewis has a book where he talks about these 4 different types of love. It's called The 4 Loves. Maybe some of you have read it. Been on a C.S. Lewis kick lately. But he says this. He says this about friends versus lovers. He says, lovers are always talking to one another about their love. Friends hardly ever talk about their friendship. Lovers are normally face-to-face, absorbed in each other. Friends, side by side, absorbed in some common interest. So that's one way that we can start to understand that. Another way that we can understand the love of friendship is it's more than just companionship. It's more than just kind of like who you hang out with and who you like to go and golf with, or who you like to ski with, or who you like to read with, or who you like to do any number of different hobbies with. Friendship rises to another level of relationship than mere companionship. Friendship is a type of love that where you recognize, right? And we kind of, or we have this experience when we're talking, oh, you too, where we make this deeper connection on another layer than just kind of a shared interest, but we make this connection of at least finding a common truth. Maybe that we don't agree on that truth completely, but we at least recognize that that truth is something that's very important. Again, I love that image of standing side by side with a friend, looking towards a greater good that you're striving for. Friendship. So friendship is also distinguished, though, from the sacrificial love that we were just talking about. The sacrificial love that we're talking about is something that is even greater. Agape is willing to love not just one's friends, but one's enemies. To love the neighbor whom we've maybe never even met before. This type of self-sacrificial love that, again, is inspiring and amazing. So the first 2 times, this is where it gets super fascinating and interesting in this gospel. The first 2 times that Jesus asked Peter, Simon, do you love me? He says this. He says, Simon, do you agape me? Simon, are you willing to lay down your life for me? Are you willing to die for me? Are you willing to sacrifice everything for me? And Simon, in response, because we know that this is right after Simon had just betrayed Jesus. This is right, probably like the 2nd time or 3rd time it says. It's the 3rd time that Jesus has appeared to his disciples, his apostles. So this is the 3rd time that Jesus and Simon have seen each other since Simon had betrayed him just before his death and just before Jesus' resurrection. So, in response, the first 2 times after he's asked, do you agape me? Simon responds and says, Lord, you know that I phileo you. You know that I just love you as a friend. You saw what I just did. You saw that even at the Last Supper I said to you, Jesus, that I would follow you to death, that I would do anything for you, that I would follow you through thick and thin, right? Through any different path that you were going on, I was going to follow you, and then I betrayed you in my weakness. Lord, you know that I just love you as a friend right now. And so there's something beautiful here, because Simon Peter has come to this place of weakness and poverty within his life to where he's not trying to be someone else that he's not, but he's just there and saying honestly, this is where I'm at, Jesus. I realize what you're asking of me. I realize what you're calling me towards, but right now, I'm not there. And so the 3rd time that Jesus asked Simon, or Peter, right, because he's got a new name now, The third time that Jesus asked Peter, do you love me? He says, do you phileo me? And this is why Peter is distressed. Simon is distressed because he saw, it seems at least within his heart, that the standard, the call that Jesus had for him, had been lowered. No longer was he asking, do you agape me? Do you love me as a friend? And so Simon recognizes what has happened and says, yes, Lord, you know that I just love you as a friend. You know that I wasn't willing to lay down my life. You know that I betrayed you. And this can be seen as a moment of despair, but Jesus turns it into a moment of hope. Because he looks at Simon and he says, one day, right here at the end, amen, I say to you, when you were younger, you used to dress yourself and go where you wanted, but when you grow old, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will dress you, and you will be led where you do not want to go. Simon, I recognize that you don't fully love me with this sacrificial love. I recognize also that you want to, that you desire that this love would grow and flourish within your heart. I see within you that you want to lay down your life for me, but you recognize that you're not there yet. But one day you will be. One day you will be. And we can see the promise of Jesus towards his disciple. And what does he say? Follow me. Follow me. And this is where you will be led. My brothers and sisters, this gospel is one of great hope. This gospel is one of Jesus giving us permission to be on the way, to be pilgrims, to grow in love, to be honest with Jesus, to come to him where we are, recognizing the great desires that we have within our life, and to feed those desires for greater love, for greater holiness, for greater sanctity, for greater, that our love would become even more and more beautiful, to feed those desires. A lot of the great saints talk about that when we feed our desires and when our desires grow, our hearts widen to be able to receive more deeply, to drink more deeply of the love of God that transforms, that heals, that sanctifies. That our desires would be widened as we continue to strive to follow Jesus. And though we recognize that we may not love God in the way that we want to right now, Jesus says, one day you will. This is a promise that as we follow him, as we do not give in to despair, but follow him with hope, that we'll be led into that love, the love that he has modeled for us, the love that he invites us into, and the love that has conquered death, and the love that has borne the fruit of resurrection. Praise be Jesus Christ.